What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got 3 explosive stories to break down. First, Islam Makhachev's manager has finally spoken out on whether a super fight with Khamzat Chimaev will ever happen. Then, Jon Jones just walked free after all charges in his recent legal case were dismissed. And finally, Rampage Jackson and his son Raja are at the center of a controversy so wild, it's now under LAPD investigation. 3 stories, 1 video, and a lot to unpack. If you love staying ahead of the fight game, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Let's get into it. For months, MMA fans have been obsessed with the idea of a super fight between Islam Makhachev and Khamzat Chimaev. 2 dominant grapplers, 2 unstoppable forces colliding in the octagon. On paper, it's the stuff of legend. But according to Makhachev's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, this dream match is already dead. Abdelaziz didn't leave any room for interpretation. His words were blunt. This fight will never happen.
This will never happen. First of all, Khamzat is too big. I don't think he can ever make welterweight. And in a way, these guys, they know each other. I don't think, they're from the same region. And I honestly, these fights make absolutely no sense.
That statement sent shockwaves through the MMA community, and here's why. First, he pointed out the obvious: size. Chimaev has moved up to middleweight and looks enormous compared to Makhachev. Abdelaziz said he doesn't believe Chimaev can ever safely cut back down to welterweight again. And if the two were to fight, the size difference would tilt the playing field beyond recognition. Second, Abdelaziz highlighted their roots. Both Makhachev and Chimaev come from the same region. According to him, there's no natural rivalry to sell, no real story to fuel the hype. Fights are as much about the narrative as the skills, and he claims this matchup lacks that spark. Finally, he dismissed the fight as making no sense. Instead, Abdelaziz urged Chimaev to defend his middleweight crown or chase even bigger challenges at light heavyweight. He mentioned names like Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, suggesting those bouts would carry more legitimacy and intrigue. So where does this leave fans? Right now, the answer is simple: stuck waiting. Unless the UFC finds a way to create a storyline big enough to override those concerns, Makhachev versus Chimaev will remain nothing more than a fantasy fight. And while one dream bout slips further away, another headline has just flipped the script on one of MMA's most polarizing legends. Earlier this year, Jon Jones found himself back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. He was accused of fleeing the scene of a car crash and making harassing phone calls tied to the incident. For a fighter whose career has been shadowed by repeated run-ins with the law, this looked like the beginning of another messy chapter. But in a dramatic twist, every single charge against Jones has now been dropped. New Mexico prosecutors dismissed the case after reviewing cell phone records that proved Jones wasn't even at the crash site. That digital evidence provided an airtight alibi and left the accusations without a foundation. Jones's attorney, Christopher Dodd, called the case strange and unwarranted. He criticized how quickly accusations were made, how important evidence was ignored, and how Jones was once again put in the position of defending himself against claims that simply didn't hold up. Jones released a statement too. He thanked the district attorney for reviewing the evidence fairly, but also expressed deep frustration. He said these false accusations disrupted what should have been a peaceful time in his life, almost derailing his plans for retirement. Instead of focusing on family and his legacy, he was dragged back into a storm of speculation. This isn't just another legal win for Jones. It's a rare moment of vindication in a career filled with controversies that often went the other way. With the charges cleared, he now has the chance to close that chapter. And while his focus is on moving forward, the whispers have already begun. There are rumors that Jones could make a shocking return, possibly at the much-hyped UFC White House event in 2026. Nothing is confirmed yet, but for the first time in years, the conversation about Jon Jones isn't just about his troubles. It's about what comes next. While Jones walks away cleared, another legendary name in combat sports is facing the complete opposite: a storm that's getting darker with each passing day. At a Knox Pro Wrestling event, Rampage Jackson, the son of Quinton Rampage Jackson, was part of a segment that was supposed to be controlled, scripted, and entertaining. Instead, it spiraled into chaos. Raja slammed independent wrestler Siko Stu to the mat and followed it up with a barrage of punches. Reports say he landed 22 strikes, leaving Stu unconscious. The aftermath was brutal. Stu suffered fractured jaws, head trauma, a fractured maxilla, cuts on his face, and even lost multiple teeth. What was supposed to be part of a performance turned into a very real, very violent incident. Seiko Stu spent days in the hospital but has since been released. He's now home, recovering from serious injuries, and he's spoken publicly, thanking fans for their overwhelming support. But this story doesn't end with his recovery. The LAPD and even state authorities are now investigating the case. Raja could be facing significant legal trouble, and the possibility of charges looms large. There's also talk of civil action. Stu and his team are reportedly preparing for a lawsuit, and given the severity of his injuries, that could result in a drawn-out battle in court. Rampage himself has finally broken his silence. He admitted his son took it too far and even called him out for it, but he also provided a different perspective. According to Rampage, Stu had earlier struck Raja in the head with a real beer can while drunk. Raja thought it was still part of the show and reacted in the heat of the moment. Rampage said the context matters, and he's furious at how the story has been spun by the media. More than anything, Rampage condemned the wave of racist threats and violent messages being sent to his family since the incident. For him, this isn't just about one fight gone wrong, it's about protecting his family from an ugly side of the public. The MMA community itself is split. Kevin Lee has called for Raja to be turned over to police. Josh Thompson has warned that jail time may be inevitable. Sean Strickland, however, urged more compassion, saying rehabilitation should come before punishment. It's a debate playing out in real time, with fighters, fans, and legal authorities all taking sides. As it stands, Raja is under investigation, Seiko Stu is recovering, and Rampage is caught between defending his son and confronting the fallout. It's a story that feels unfinished, and the ending could go in many directions. These three stories show the extremes of the fight world. On one side, you have a dream match like Makhachev versus Chimaev that may never happen, shut down by a manager who says it simply makes no sense. On another, you have Jon Jones, a man whose name is nearly synonymous with controversy, walking free after charges collapsed under the weight of hard evidence. And then you have Rampage and Rampage Jackson, where the line between performance and reality blurred so dangerously that it left someone in the hospital and another family under legal fire. So here's the question for you. Which story shocked you the most? Was it the dream fight being called off before it ever began? Was it Jon Jones walking free yet again? Or was it the brutal fallout from Rampage and Raja's chaotic night? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We bring you the stories that others leave half told, and there's plenty more coming your way.